Dearest Celie, you enter the world carrying innocence quietly, a beautiful soul learning how to survive long before learning how to live. Your life unfolds in silence, not emptiness, but endurance, love withheld, joy postponed, family pulled apart before you could understand why. You are asked to grow small, to endure without witness, to exist without being seen, and still you remain. Then, the air begins to shift. A cool breeze arrives, carrying music and color, a woman who laughs without apology and calls you by your worth. She does not rescue you, she recognizes you. Another woman enters, strong and unyielding, challenging the world as it is, simply by refusing to accept it. Together, they show you that silence was never your destiny. Your quiet was survival, your stillness was strength, and slowly, your voice returns. Like sunflowers turning toward the light, you reach for warmth, for safety, for joy that was always meant for you. Your smile finds its way back, brighter, freer. And love, true love, endures across time and distance until what was separated finds its way home, surrounded by community, by chosen family, by women who walked beside you. You step fully into your life. Celie, purple is the color of royalty, not loud, not cruel, but powerful, because it is finally seen.
Hello everyone. Before the episode begins, we want to give you a heads up. This episode may deal with more mature themes and subject matter, so listener discretion is advised. We understand our viewpoint is not the one featured in this movie, so we try to approach the material from a respectful commentary and analysis. We appreciate your understanding and hope you enjoy the episode. Hello and welcome to Ambling Through Cinema, a podcast dedicated to exploring the stories and film craft, defining the creative giants of the silver screen. Today we are enjoying the poignant and evocative experience of Steven Spielberg's The Color Purple, released in 1985. I'm your host, Tyler Birch, and...
This is Crystal.
Okay, so as we've discussed, we are going to be talking about The Color Purple, a movie released by Steven Spielberg and Quincy Jones. I know we talk about first impressions if we have one. This is my first interaction with this film, so there's not really that much of a first impression other than the viewing of the movie. But I believe that you have some prior experience with this one.
I do. I first read the book in high school. We had to read different books from different genres. So our teacher was trying to expose us to different genres so we don't get stuck in romance or horror like I was. So I had read this book. It was thought-provoking and powerful. Even then, when I later saw the film, I recognized its excellence. The acting was amazing. The subject matter, however, was a little difficult. I hadn't processed my own trauma, and it was difficult for me to watch. Revisiting it this week, though, felt different. I didn't feel triggered in the same way, and the shift was meaningful, and it just reminded me how healing work, such as therapy, can change how we connect with stories like this.
Yeah, I think that's a great example of how, as our lives change, feelings about different media also changes.
As you can tell, it's a very emotional movie.
Yes, it is, definitely. I could see how just experiencing the film and what I kind of learned about the novel, I could see it having an impact on people and staying with them and reminding them of their experiences. It's a raw story. It's something that is filled with so much emotion of the people that wrote it, people that are playing in it. You get something out of it. I mean, myself, when I was watching it, like I felt an emotional change afterwards, which only happens with certain films that I watch, where you walk out and you feel like you've truly experienced something. This is one of those films, and I'm about as far away from the person that has any kind of experience with the entire subject material that's going on in that movie, but still seeing what they were going through, still something that stuck with me, even though I am not the person with the voice, I'm not the person that's going through the experiences. It's still just an incredible story that they were able to write and that they were able to create into a movie.
I was interested in your point of view since you are pretty far removed from the demographic, I guess.
Point of view was angry a lot of the times.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, just seeing how different characters are being treated and some of the subject material. This isn't the kind of movie that I'm jumping to go and see because the outside world's already heavy enough. So I try not to get very heavy with the media that I absorb. But I'm glad that I did because I really did enjoy this film. I enjoyed what it was about. I think that they did a really great job. And so I'm glad I was able to experience it. But I mean, honestly, there's a lot of like two-dimensional emotions about it because I was angry at the way that the characters are acting. You know, I was rooting when they were acting childish. I felt childish. When they were being defiant, I felt defiant. Like on a very surface level, I was able to connect with them because I was like, okay, cool. Like this is what I want from these characters. I'm excited to see.
That's good to see. I like to see when we're able to connect with media in different ways. That's my favorite part of this whole process. I'm really glad that Steven Spielberg took a chance and did this movie.
Mm-hmm. This movie is the start of the change that we have been alluding to the past 2 episodes. This is the Spielberg that creates Schindler's List. Even the one after this one, Empire of the Sun, even that one, like he said without the color purple, he wouldn't have had the courage to go and write that story that he wanted to tell. This is truly the beginning. This feels like a new phase of Spielberg. And so it's interesting to be on this journey with him. You know, we're now actually going through this journey in like a parasocial way together with Spielberg. So we've been able to lose ourselves in a childlike wonder. And now it feels like we are now also going to evolve in the way that we are speaking about film because the movies that we're talking about are going to be evolving.
I totally agree.
All right, so first we're going to kick it off with our Mr. DNA Explains, where we discuss the story, the characters, just kind of the general vibes of the movie that we watched.
So let's step out of the feeling for a moment and into the magic of film with Mr. DNA.
All right, Mom, so to get this started, what do you think are the 3 things that Spielberg is trying to use to tell this story?
Well, definitely he's using color. Obviously, it's in
the name.
The name. In retrospect, I wish I had read this before we watched the movie. He withholds it on purpose during the first part of the film. Color equals access. Early on, Celie isn't allowed joy, so the palette stays muted. And like I said, I'm going to have to rewatch to see this happen. I can't believe we didn't pick up on it.
There was one moment that I kind of did. It wasn't any kind of real turning point because it kind of led me into like a false sense of a turning point. It's when she cleans the kitchen.
Oh, yeah.
And the first thing she does is she cleans the walls, which I thought was an odd choice. Those walls were blackened and she, starts scrubbing it away and it uncovers color and flowers. And so I thought, it led me into a false sense of security, not knowing anything about this film because I thought, well, maybe this will lead to like her home. This could be a good turning point for her. Turned out not to be. That moment, I think, stuck the most in my mind from the beginning was just like, she's going to clean this kitchen. Even though Mr. didn't really want her to be his wife, like he will start to see that she has these skills and she knows how to make a home and their relationship will soften. It didn't happen, which probably is why it probably made me angrier with Mr.
Definitely.
Because of the way I felt after seeing the scene of her cleaning the kitchen. I think that one and the ending are the 2 most colorful parts that stick in my mind. One is still kind of muted because it's just like a yellow wallpaper, and the other one is just bright, vibrant colors.
Oh, yeah. Like I said, I would have to rewatch it to actually, I want to see it now that I know what I'm looking for. We always talk about watching movies in different lenses. So basically, as Celie finds her voice, the color returns. So slowly, obviously. It takes her a while. She's very quiet because she has to be, because if you're speaking up in an abusive relationship, it's not going to end well. So she does what she needs to survive.
Okay, so think about this. Who's the most colorful person in this movie?
Shug.
Who brought the color back into Celie's life?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. And then the scene later on where she wears Shug's outfit.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
When they begin their relationship, and that's where she fully is able to start becoming her own person.
Okay, yeah. So he also uses light. So the light is really harsh in the beginning, and then it softens and warms when safety exists. He also used framing where the camera, there's negative space, or he used a lot of doorways to kind of frame her.
Okay. Put her in a box.
Put her in a box.
Yeah. Okay.
Because definitely at the end of the movie, you see that she's in the big, wide expanse when she sees her sisters.
And Nettie, when she's in Africa, she's always in a big, wide expanse.
Yeah. So these are the things that Spielberg used. So in case we talk about them later.
That makes a lot of sense. I know one of the things when I was doing my research, they said that this was a visual movie. It wasn't so much about, the writing, wasn't about the dialogue or anything like that. They wanted to tell a lot of the story just based off of visual cues and how they frame the movie. That's why there's like a whole documentary where it's mainly just the director of photography talking, because him and Spielberg are the ones that were coming up with how exactly do we want to frame this movie. He said any of the actors, he never wanted them to have like a white wall behind them. They wanted some sort of color.
Yeah.
Yeah. So things like that. They put a lot of care into how exactly were they going to shoot this film. And it's a standout of the movie. And as much as the characters themselves, you can just tell how much care that they put into how they wanted to portray the story.
Yeah, we'll definitely get into that deeper later.
Yeah. So the story of The Color Purple is the journey of Celie from being a teenager in 1909 Georgia, being decades of her life. So we're going to say 1937. It might be sometime after that. It was a while after 1937 that it feels like Nettie and them got to go home. So
yeah,
in the novel, Nettie gets home around 1940 from Africa, but it spans about 3 decades of her life.
Yeah.
So her growing up, and we're really just watching her evolution as somebody that saw herself as just a tool to be used by others into becoming her own woman, having her own interests, becoming fully rounded out person that's able to go pursue the life that they've always dreamed of, that she's been deprived of pretty much her entire life. So, and in that process, she meets other characters, the strong-willed Sophia, the elegant Shug, Avery, Mr. and Harpo, who is with Sophia, how she interacts with them and how that both takes away from her and adds to her as a person and what that leads to.
So did you have any favorite scene? I have several. My most favorite one, obviously, is the sunset scene with the reunion.
Okay.
And the 2 women, and it opened with the 2 girls. So it was a nice bookend effect that they had come full circle.
Yeah.
And they were back together. And it was interesting. I rewatched a little bit of the ending, and you see Mr. in the background with his horse go by as they're doing their, I don't know what that's called. I used to do it when I was a kid.
Pattycake?
Pattycake, something like that.
Yeah.
I know there's a different name for it, but
yeah, but that's the most common term, I think, is just saying pattycake.
That really took me back because we used to do that on the playground. So it was really nice.
No, like I said during that movie, if my sibling showed up almost 3 decades later and wanted me to try to recreate some sort of childhood gesture or handshake or something that we did, I would just be like, okay, can you write it down for me? Can you just give me a couple dry runs and then we'll go ahead and give this a try. No, for them, it was immediate. I mean, that relationship was just the emotional core of the movie. So it was a really great way to bookend it for them.
What about the letters?
Them finding the letters or her reading the letters?
Well, finding them.
Finding them. I mean, I like that. I like them just tearing apart Mr.'s house. I thought it was really funny that Mr. put that mousetrap in there to make sure no one tried to steal his goods. But no, just like they're desperately searching to try to find those letters, and Shug is helping her because she knows how much it matters to her, and just like feeling like it was a really tense moment because you never know if Mr. was going to come back, and just like that tension, and then it finally breaking when we find the letters, and she sees just how many times that Nettie had tried to contact her.
Because at that point she thought she was dead because she had said the only reason I won't write a letter is if I'm dead when she was being cast out of Mr.'s house because she wouldn't do what he wanted.
Because he's a scumbag and he's terrible and I hate him.
I agree.
And to your point earlier about the reunion and how he was there, I think that was supposed to show growth for him, to understand that was not his place to be a part of the reunion, even though he was the one that facilitated it as a small token against a giant karmic debt that he has against Celie. He was still watching over it, but he just knew. Apparently in the book, they get on like good terms, kind of.
That's good.
Apparently, yeah. And he opens up to her about how he was always expected to be a man, what a man is, and the expectations that he had. Because I think she like teaches him knitting or something, and he says that he tried it with his mom and he actually enjoyed it, and then he was told that's not what a man does.
That tracks.
Yeah.
Especially with the scenes with his dad.
Yeah. His dad was a piece of work. You could see where a lot of that came from that defines who Mr.
So I couldn't find the term, but I loved, and I think you said this too, that when she was reading the letters, it was like parallel what things that were happening in Africa. Like when she was reading the letters and she said, oh, there's things in the bushes.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden she looked behind her and an elephant comes through.
Yeah.
But it's in Africa.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I wish I knew the term for that, but I really enjoy it when when filmmakers do that. It's kind of like a parallel story, but it was so seamless, the times of day, all of it.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that.
And it showed Celie getting to open up her imagination to a world that she never got to see through these letters.
So I'm wondering, do you think they just had the book Oliver Twist?
Like in that house?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't remember much about it, but I don't think much imagination going on there. Yeah.
Well,
They don't go a lot of places, so
yeah.
it was nice to have the letters. And I loved how she taught her how to read.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Her teaching her how to read scene was really, really cute.
Yeah.
Putting all the words everywhere so that way she could read them. I thought that I really liked that scene, and I love that she found the only word that she wasn't able to say
Yes.
when they're practicing, and how she kept that for one of her very few mementos of her life.
Yeah.
To show that bond that she has with Nettie. Sky.
Yeah, because didn't Mister show up when she was about to say it?
One thing about it with the sky, when you're in a cage, the only thing you can see is the sky, but it's the one thing you can't touch.
True.
That house was her cage. So yeah, a lot of thematic reasoning behind that being the one word that she wasn't able to say.
So what'd you think of the Thanksgiving scene?
I thought it was good. Didn't realize till afterwards it was Thanksgiving. The one thing about movies where things skip around a lot with time periods, and same with TV shows, you kind of get a little lost in where everything's supposed to take place. So I wasn't sure if this was the next day, finally couldn't take it anymore, or if it was a few months. So it must have been a few months because it was Easter around Easter time that she found the letters.
So yeah,
So it'd been about 6 months, which that was a lot of letters. It might have taken her that long to read them all.
I'm impressed how she was able to keep them hidden for as long as she did, or he didn't find them.
He must have been distracted or something, because there was literally a part where he knocks her to the ground and the letters fall out onto the ground. So, or it was his own hubris that he never thought that she would get the courage to go and search for the letters herself.
True.
So in his mind, there's no way that those are the same letters, because she would never go against him.
Yeah. Why do you think he kept them? Why not just burn them or throw them away or whatever? Why keep them?
I mean, it's the same reason why he treated her the way that he did with all the domestic violence. It's to have power over her. If she ever threatens him ever again, he can tell her he has the letters, and then he can use that against her, because she's so desperate to have any kind of connection with Nettie.
Yeah.
And in this way, he has more of a connection to Nettie than she does.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. For my two scenes that I was going to talk about. So for me, first one was going to be when Celie and Nettie are torn apart.
Yeah.
That was a very emotional scene. As I was watching a documentary about it, Spielberg gave one instruction to the actress that played Nettie, which was, don't let go of your sister.
Yeah.
And so that's like, that wasn't really acting that they were doing. That was her desperately trying to keep a hold of Celie. I know Danny Glover had to like actually punch her hands when she was holding on to the post so she'd let go. When she says, it really struck me when they did finally get separated and she's thrown onto the road and she screams "why" at him. That really stuck with me, and that was ad-libbed.
Yeah.
That wasn't even something that was even in the script. That was just the raw emotion that she was feeling.
It was giving me chills right now.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was ad-libbed, and I like that Steven gave them the space to do things like that.
Yeah, so I mean, from what I can tell, he really wanted them to express themselves. And I think that shows that shows him understanding where he is in this story. And we can talk a little bit more about that later, but him understanding what his role is as Spielberg and his role as director was able to let this movie shine on its own. I don't think anyone looks at this movie and they think of it as a Spielberg movie.
Mm-hmm.
I think they think about it as the Whoopi Goldberg movie, the Oprah movie, the Danny Glover movie, because they're the ones that shine.
Yeah.
As opposed to if you think of E.T., you think Spielberg.
Yeah, that's true.
My next scene that I just thought was really well done was when Celie essentially was done with Mr. And after she read Nettie's letters and she gained that connection back to her sister, I think full well planned to kill him while shaving his face. Something that they had played with earlier, because it's a straight razor. Mm-hmm. And obviously, I don't know who would want to be shaved by somebody that doesn't have the fondness of feelings for them. Yeah. That seems like a real risk, but I guess that was his confidence, was that she would not turn against him. But this time she planned to. And so watching her lose it, she's just radiating anger and fury and slowly walking over she keeps sharpening the razor,
Yeah, she
upsetting
does.
him, and he's just berating her. Seeing Shug run over to stop her before she ended up doing anything. Mr. also, I think, realized at that moment how far he had pushed Celie. But I think for me, like, that scene, not only is it just really well done because of the tension and the emotions you can feel from Shug's desperation, how upset Celie is, her taking so much time to sharpen that knife, and you can feel it. You start feeling it on your throat.
Yep.
I know we talked about this like when we watched the movie. A lot of this movie in the later half is these other characters who don't see themselves as pure, that don't see themselves as upstanding or have become broken.
Mhm.
Really, these characters that become broken, like Sophia does after her time in jail, and Shug after just the life that she has led, trying to preserve the innocence of Celie. And that's, I mean, you see it in this scene, you see it in the Thanksgiving dinner scene. Both times it's these characters saying you don't want to become like them. You need to stay who you are. And you see just how highly they think of Celie. Before, the way they talk about Celie, it's more like you're just here. You're wallpaper, essentially. And you see how her interaction with them has changed to the point now where they want to protect her, how they want to make sure that they see what value she has and what kind of person she is now. And they are rushing to protect that because they care more about her than really anything about themselves anymore at that point. So I think it was just a powerful scene, and it was really well done, and it's one that definitely stuck with me. And there was a lot of other scenes. Well, like, I mean, a lot of scenes with Sophia stuck with me. So it's a memorable movie.
Oh, it definitely is. We actually got to smile during this movie. Do you remember when he was trying to cook?
But yeah, when he was trying to cook was so good. Going into Celie's domain, acting like he knew what he was doing, he did not. It was also the first time that we kind of got to see Celie's personality, really, because she is smart. I don't think people think of her as smart, but that apparatus that she created for the pots and pans was very smart.
Yeah.
And so getting to see that, and obviously like that final scene was a lot of fun.
Where she pulled up the rocking chair and she's sitting there just watching him do all the things, and she's just like, this is quite the juxtaposition. And then the oven's not hot enough.
Yeah, he keeps saying the oven's not hot enough, like he knows how hot the oven's supposed to be.
I don't know. But he fixed that, didn't he?
Yeah, he dragged over the barrel of kerosene, and in just a moment of physical comedy, you see Celie on the rocking chair. You see him drag over the kerosene. We go back to the rocking chair. She's gone.
Yep.
Because she knows what's about to happen.
But the rocking chair is still rocking.
The rocking chair is still rocking. She booked it.
Yeah, I don't blame her.
I mean,
wow. I enjoyed that. It gave us a glimpse into her personality because we don't really get to see it. That's something I just thought of because she never shows her smile until Shug.
Yeah.
But she put her hand up, even though I think she was trying to do it so that Mr. wouldn't see her laughing at him or whatever. Not that he would have cared. He was focused.
I mean, when Shug's there, as nice as he is to Celie.
I know. That's amazing. I mean, that Celie could get that respite.
Yeah.
Since Shug was there. And there wasn't, I think there was jealousy in the beginning, but I think it ebbed away.
Yeah, maybe. Probably envy more than anything.
True.
Yeah, just because it's a life that she never got to lead and have a relationship that she's never got to have where somebody's fawning over her.
Yeah.
But I mean, every man is taken from her. So it must have been weird. It must have been emotional whiplash to see how Shug is being treated versus how she was being treated just earlier that day when they first met.
Yeah. Yeah, that was quite the entrance.
Yeah. Yeah. So the character, I mean, the main character that's besides Celie is, we've talked about him before, like Mr. Just a real creep of a dude in the beginning.
Oh.
I mean, he goes through a lot of different faces and none of them are good, which is weird because it's Danny Glover. Every time you see of anything else, at least in my experience, he's just a good-natured person, always caring about people. So seeing him in this role with, I'm pretty sure, fake hair and maybe fake teeth.
Maybe.
Because he just had an unnatural look to him.
He did.
Besides the fact that his personality is in a 180 than what I'm used to. But he comes and tries to marry Nettie, and he takes Celie instead because her scumbag father said, you're not taking Nettie, but you can take this girl because...
I'm done with her.
Yeah.
Because he was ready to move on to Nettie.
Yeah, essentially.
Which is her stepfather, as it turns out, which I was very happy about.
Yeah. So she goes with Mr. and she meets these kids. The first thing these kids do, I'm pretty sure it was Harpo, is throw a rock at her. like Mr. doesn't care about the rock thrown at her. She must have dressed that wound herself.
Of course she did.
She's told to cook and clean the house. She's taking care of the children. She's just another tool that Mr. uses in all different kinds of ways. As the movie goes on, I mean, you see more of his complexity. You see his relationship with Shug and how different he is with her, because she is the one that got away, the one that he always wished he married. And so getting to see that, you could see a different side of him there. You see him as a father with Harpo, and then you see his own father, and you see how he treats him, which is just to beat him and tell him that he's not a man, and anything that he can say, he will say against him. So you see how that has influenced him and how he treats Harpo and Celie and everybody around him, and why he's so abusive. Unfortunately, it's a cycle. So
Yeah.
you see that, and then it bleeds over to Harpo, and that's how he feels his relationship with Sophia should be. And so he tries to beat Sophia. She's
not going to take it.
Yeah, she takes care of that.
And that
then
broke the cycle, if you think about it.
Eventually, yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure in the movie they said that they just kept beating each other for years.
You're right.
But I think when she comes back,
Yeah.
and I don't think he beats weak.
I don't know.
But she was
I
already
don't know much
timid.
about her.
She was already timid, so because he thought that he needed to have somebody as compliant like Celie, you need to resort to violence. But Squeak was already kind of compliant like Celie, so he probably didn't feel the need to, like with Sophia, because Sophia was strong-willed and she was willing to fight back. And with Mr., we've talked a lot about him, so there's not too much more to add. I think he had genuine fear when she cursed him.
Yes.
Because he seemed very flustered when she cursed him and said, because of what you've done to me, until you write things, your life is going to be a living hell. And it turns out to be. And it's not in like some supernatural sort of sense at all. It's in the way of he never understood what she did until she was gone, and everything went to hell. I mean, even the mailbox.
Yeah.
The mailbox had bullet holes in it.
Yeah.
And you watch him crumble as a person after Celie's gone, because the support that he never realized that was there, it's gone. So he stumbles. And I think the part about that I remember the most is that night that he was drinking at the juke joint, and he's getting ready to go because they're telling him to leave, and he's just like kind of shouts like, "I'm so glad," about Sophia and Harpo coming back together, and he kind of realizes that he's just acting out of turn. And you've seen how much he's been impacted, I think, in that scene, more than him sleeping on the floor of the dirty kitchen.
With the chickens and the goats.
The chickens and the goats and everything. And
then his dad comes in and, you need a young
woman. Here's the golden rule. If you need to fix your life, go find another woman.
No, thank you. So I always wondered, because you have these characters that do atrocious things, did that one act redeem him at the end of the movie, bringing the sister and the family back to the States?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Because some people, like Anakin at the end of Revenge of the Sith, or I'm sorry, Return of the Jedi, how he sacrificed himself for his son. Do you think that redeemed him? In the eyes of the Force, I guess it did, but I don't know. He did so many bad acts. So that's my question to you.
No, there's a weight to your actions. You can't wipe that out with one good deed.
One good deed.
You can begin the process of making things better and bettering yourself, and you can reflect on it and grow from it as a person. But at the end of the day, if you spend 20 to 30 years doing horrible things to Celie, yes, you reunited her with the sister, but it's also the sister that you took away from her.
That's true.
So you don't get any attaboys for that.
Okay.
That's you righting a mistake that you already made. That's like me going out and tripping a guy, and then once he's on the ground, I'm like, "Oh, are you okay?" And I put a Band-Aid on his wound. It's something that I did to him, so I'm not going to get the good points from giving him a bandage.
A good point. I just always wondered, because people are like, "Oh, that was the redemption arc," and I just didn't feel like it was the redemption for him.
No, and redemption arcs always vary.
Yeah.
If it's something that's quick like this, then it's harder for me to buy into. If there's redemption arcs out there that you genuinely see somebody changing and reflecting, and they take a lot of different actions, things seen, things unseen, that show the way that their mindset have changed and how they are trying to make amends. Those I can buy into. But if it's something like with Anakin, I don't think, yes, do I think that means that he turned to the light side? Yes. But do I think that means that everything's squared? No. Because actions have weight, and you can't just wipe that away.
I mean, he wiped out the whole Jedi.
Yeah. He ruled cruelly across the galaxy for over 20 years. He did it selfishly to save his own child. If
Yeah.
it was somebody that was unrelated to him, he wouldn't have cared.
True. Yeah. Okay. We digressed. So casting, you had talked about how Whoopi Goldberg got the part.
Yeah, so Whoopi was at this point just a stand-up comedian. He wasn't a television or film star before this. It appears from what we've heard that she contacted the writer Alice Walker and told her, "Hey, I really like your book. I'm very interested in being in the movie. I would love for you to come and just see my stand-up." Actually, she might not have even said she really wanted to be in the movie. She might have just said, "I really like your book. Can you come and see my stand-up?" So when she did, Alice Walker just liked her so much that she did facilitate the audition for Whoopi to meet with Spielberg and to meet with a name we haven't said too much yet, but a name that is at least, if not more important to this, I would say probably more important to this movie, which is Quincy Jones.
Right.
So getting to talk to them, there are reports that she had a very odd audition, mainly because she had Spielberg rented out like a theater for her to perform, and he had Quincy Jones there naturally, Kathleen Kennedy. For some reason, Michael Jackson was there as well. I don't know why. So he attended this, and she, it appears that she may have done a skit for E.T. driving while high and getting pulled over in Oakland. And that was her audition, which I wish there was video of that because that sounds insane.
Yes, it does.
I mean, it was enough, and you have to go for what you know. I think that's, yeah, I thought that was interesting.
So did you know that Alfre Woodard, and you would know her as Evelyn from Annabelle, and Felicia Rashad, Claire Huxtable from The Cosby Show, were also considered for the role of Celie.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I feel like I could see it more with Felicia Rashad, maybe. I don't know her from The Cosby Show. I only know her in The Beekeeper. So,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
so I know her not in the 80s. She's kind of a strong personality, too.
I mean, but I guess Whoopi was a strong personality as well. I'm just impressed that that was her first movie. She just killed it. You were fully committed that it was her. It was her process. It was her journey, not somebody else's in a book.
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense, but I feel like she just embodied it. And then Oprah, which right now is a household name because of all of her success. She had never acted before, and she had a morning show, AM Chicago. And she really wanted to be in the movie. And
Desperately wanted to.
So Quincy Jones saw her on the morning news program and invited her to audition.
When she auditioned, she didn't hear back for a while.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And so she went to a health farm, which I think is just like a clinic to get more healthy. So she was actually at the health farm when she got called by Spielberg's office to do another audition for him. And so this one was the big time audition with Spielberg, where they would make the final call. And she, while at this health farm, I'm assuming to lose weight and be more healthy, she was told, if you lose a pound, you will not get this part.
And it's so sad because this role, she killed it, Sophia, but at the same time, it started her weight issues that she struggled with for most of her life.
Really?
Yeah. Because after she played Sophia, they said, you can't lose a pound. Couldn't lose it after the movie.
Do you think that created like a mind block where she thought if she would not, her career would stop if she lost weight?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's just watching her over the years, it's just, you can see watching her on her show and everything. And she eventually becomes a spokesperson for Weight Watchers.
Okay.
So I know that she has struggled with her weight.
Okay.
Which I can totally relate to. It's sad that it happened over a movie. There's probably more to it, but I'm sure that didn't help. So I thought she did an amazing job as Sophia.
Yeah, Sophia was a standout.
Yes.
You can feel a vacuum of life anytime after she's in jail. The life is just sapped out of that room because she's not her fiery self. She's not strong, hard-headed, proud, and you feel the change that occurred because of her 8 years in jail.
Did you see the physical change?
I mean, yeah, the eye, the gray hair, the movements.
Yeah, she was like,
it was a crazy change, especially for somebody who's never acted before, to be able to convey how much of an experience that Sophia had gone into while she was in jail.
It just broke her.
Yeah.
So it's nice to see her come back alive during that dinner.
Yeah. That was really great when she's like, Sophia's back. And it really did feel like Sophia was back. And that was kind of her parting gift to Celie, I think, too, was just, you don't have to worry about this. I'm here. You've been watching over this family, and now I will do that in my own Sophia way.
So that brought up another scene when Sophia was with Miss Millie which we don't really talk about.
Because we hate her.
We don't, yeah. She's awful. Her and her husband, the mayor.
Yeah. Yeah.
That just made us mad. And she's just like, she doesn't want to be there. Miss Millie's like, go get the food or whatever. I'm still convinced she couldn't read. Because she handed her a list.
It's entirely possible, yeah.
But Celie was there, and she took the list and just went and did all the things and gave it to her. And then she got back in the car. And poor Sophia, your heart breaks for her. And she mouths thank you to Celie. And Celie nods her head. She points at her and does a...
Touch your chin, like keep your chin up.
Keep your chin up. And it was quiet. It was impactful. And I think it's just magic. I don't know how else to describe it.
That was something that was small for Celie, but even later, years later, when Sophia was talking during that Thanksgiving, she mentioned how that one act was what really saved her when she was lost after being forced to be the mayor's wife's maid. So
yeah.
There's magic in the moments.
Well, that's Spielberg. He may not have had anything to do with that, but like I said, he gives his actors space to do not what they want to do, but to tell the story. And so I think sometimes you think of directors and they're like overly, this is the way it's going to be done. I don't see him that way.
Yeah.
At least for the movies we've done. For Suge, they went to Tina Turner to try to get her to do Suge, and she turned it down.
She said, Beyond Thunderdome is what I want to do.
Exactly. What's love got to do with it?
Yes.
So she turned it down because she didn't want to go through the whole domestic violence.
Yeah. I don't know much a lot about the Tina and Ike stuff, but she did mention that it's very closely mirrored what Celia went through, and she didn't want to be a part of that. Something that was interesting was not related to this, like her not wanting to be a part of the process. A lot of the actors that weren't a part of some of the scenes still stuck around set. They said that we were like the color purple groupies because even when it wasn't our days to shoot, we were up there because we wanted to see the experience. We wanted to see them shooting this scene. I thought that was really fun. Everything about the behind the scenes just shows how important this movie was to the people that were involved. Yeah,
they had like little groups, and it was just, you have to.
Yeah.
Material this raw, as you said.
I'm sure there was a lot of self-care that they needed when they were going through this movie.
And in the 80s, there was no self-care.
That's true.
You just suck it up, buttercup. Off you go. So Danny Glover, your favorite, you want to speak to him?
Yeah. Real quick, sorry, I was the one that got us away from Suge Avery, but when Tina Turner said no, Margaret Avery was the one that got hired for the role. She did a great job.
She did.
And Spielberg didn't remember until she showed up to set, I think, but he had already directed her on a TV movie called Something Evil in the early 70s.
Wow.
Sugarland. So I think it was like 72 or something like that. But yeah, so they already had worked together, and it was just kind of a fun full circle thing where somebody he directed in a television movie back when he was a no-name now is getting to be a part of a big Spielberg production.
Yeah, she really enjoyed it too.
Yeah. And yeah, she did a great job. I wasn't sure how she was going to be when the first thing she said was Celie was ugly, but
yeah,
she really turned it around for me.
She did. Yeah, I was like, this is not good.
Yeah. But yeah, so for Danny Glover, he didn't have to audition for this movie. He was actually hired immediately by Quincy Jones, which is kind of crazy because I was looking at his credits. He didn't have a whole lot before this movie.
Places in the Heart, I think I heard them say in the documentary.
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
He had seen him in that.
A lot of the behind the scenes stuff showed he was very uncomfortable with what he had to do as Mister.
Oh yeah.
He did not like he felt bad they had to punch like Nettie's hands so that way she'd let go of the post. That makes me feel better. That he hated it as much as we did. But yeah, I think you kind of have an idea of what he went through after the movie was released.
So after the movie, even during the movie, he isolated because he was trying to stay in the, like Heath Ledger did for Joker. But it was very hard on him, the whole process. I don't know how actors can separate, but I think he had a hard time with the subject matter. Sadly, sometimes the public can't separate movies and art from reality. They would spit on him. They were they were hateful to him about what he did to Celie. That kind of happened to Joffrey from Game of Thrones. And that's why he quit acting. So I'm glad Danny didn't quit. But the guilt followed him to other projects.
Yeah.
So I wonder how he worked that out.
I don't know if he did any TV stuff, but he took a couple years off from movies.
Well, there you go.
Because his next movie wasn't until he did Lethal Weapon in 1987.
That must have been a nice palate cleanser.
I'm sure it was.
Yeah.
And getting to be a strong father figure in that one probably helped a lot. because Murtaugh's whole thing, other than being 3 days from retirement, is how much he cares about his family.
Yes.
So
yes.
I think that getting to have like a wholesome family relationship where everybody loves each other probably
Yeah.
went a long way towards healing some of the wounds of having to play Mister and being the patriarch of this dreadful family that is just a cycle of violence and abuse.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that he got to do that. I'm not sure how that jump happened from The Color Purple to Lethal Weapon, but I'm glad it did because Murtaugh is awesome.
He is. Yep. He's too old for this stuff.
Exactly. All right. Well, I think that's pretty much it that we have for story and characters. Well, do you have anything about Shug? I know we mentioned a lot about her already.
No, I think pretty much covered her.
Okay. I think she was the most complex character in this movie.
Oh, for sure. I enjoyed her.
Yeah. Her relationship with her father, the pasture, and I mean, the first moment that she has with Celie where they kind of get along, other than her making breakfast for her and she actually liking it, was that bass scene where she says that her dad loves her, but he just doesn't know it. And then seeing her trying to interact with him, trying to do upstanding things, like in his eyes, like getting married and he just not caring. And her finally getting to sing. And I was telling Mom, I don't have confirmation about this, but when the girl that was in the choir, I want to believe that was Shug's daughter.
Right.
And so getting to see her finally being acknowledged by her father and them in that relationship, that was probably up there with Celie breaking away from Mister in terms of this is how I wanted the story to end.
Yeah.
And getting to see a wound that she's had the entire time we know her finally begin to be filled. I know that there's a lot that they're going to have to work through, but just the fact that he was willing to hug her in front of his congregation shows that they took that first step.
Well, she had to kind of bend because I'm sure he did not approve. It was never stated in the movie, but I'm sure he did not approve of her vocation.
Yeah.
Being a jazz singer or lounge singer or whatever they called them back then.
And being an unmarried mother.
Married mother, yeah. She had 3 kids, I think?
So I think so, 2 to 3, yeah.
So yeah, I'm sure it was difficult for him as it was difficult for her. So it was nice that she was able to bridge that relationship with him that they were talking about. Maybe God's trying to tell you something.
Yeah.
I love how she heard it when they were in the juke joint, and then she just
took everybody with her.
Yep. They all came with her, and there you go. Someone we forgot to mention, Lawrence Fishburne.
Yes, Lawrence Fishburne is in this movie. Is it Swain?
Yeah.
Harpo's friend that helps him open the juke joint. This is back when he was Larry Fishburne. Not a big role, but it just kind of it's great that it gets to see that he was a part of this experience, and you just love seeing the guy.
Yeah.
Willard Pugh as Harpo did a great job, I think, as trying to explain kind of him navigating who his dad is and what the kind of man he wants to be, and navigate his relationship with Sophia, always trying to be a success and always seeming to fail at it.
Until he got the juke joint.
Till he got the juke joint running, yeah. So I think he did a great job. There's not really a performance here that I don't think highly of, if I'm going to be honest with you.
No, I think everybody did. Even Rae Dawn Chong with her performance as Squeak.
Yeah. I mean, her role was small, but she did what she was supposed to with it.
I read that I don't know if this was from the book, but she ran off with Grady, which was
Shug's husband.
Yeah. So we were wondering what happened to Squeak. So
yeah.
Because she just kind of disappeared.
And so did Grady, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although he was a nicer man than most of them were, but he still wasn't.
I loved when he came back. We had a great time. Thank you. You're like, I like that guy.
Yeah.
Good for Shug.
Yeah, I think in the book he's not that nice. I mean, it was more like he didn't think like women should be doing certain things.
I mean, that was the school of thought during that era.
Yeah.
Not that it makes it right, but
I'm not saying that it makes him a bad guy, but I know that that's probably a point of contention they had with Shug. So I think that's pretty much it for Shug, for story and characters. We really want to focus a lot more on the story and characters because that is the core of this movie. As much as we love talking about production stuff, at the end of the day for this movie is what's on the screen is really what was important.
This episode is brought to you by Noticing the Purple. For a long time, we've been moving so fast, we forget to notice what's right in front of us. The beauty, the music, the quiet moments. Noticing the Purple is your reminder that joy doesn't have to be earned to be real. So pause, look up, notice the purple. All
right, so next up is the Shark is Not Working segment where we talk about the behind the scenes. So to start off, I know you had some notes about Spielberg and what he did for this film.
Yes. So I never really thought about this, but apparently they were doing rehearsals. Apparently, they were doing rehearsals and it wasn't working. I guess the younger actors were panicking, and I guess it was too overwhelming. So he just decided to go for it. I think that's like masterclass, that's being a teacher for all those years. That's not working. Okay, we need to pivot. Let's try a different way. So, and not just being so stuck in your ways. We're going to rehearse this. I think he would have lost some of his cast that way if he just kept trying to rehearse.
Yeah, I think it would have just been a really stiff performance, probably.
Oh, that too.
Yeah.
I like just going for it and
See what happens.
yeah, because that's how he finds the gold. Okay. Spielberg wanted to shorten the sisters' reunion because he felt the audience, this was over a 2-hour movie, I believe.
Oh, yeah, it's about 2.5.
So he felt that the audience would be exhausted from this emotional journey, which, let's face it, we were. It was such a roller coaster, such a good roller coaster. But the cast members begged him to keep it, and I'm really glad he did.
Yeah.
To me, it felt like the payoff at the end of the movie. Not that I need a payoff, not that I need the happy ending, but man, she really needed a win. I'm glad they kept it the length they did.
Yeah.
I think cinematically, it closed the movie very nicely. And having them run towards each other and then do the patty cake or whatever. What do you think?
No, I think it's a good amount of time. I didn't feel like we were really dragging this out. Getting to meet the sister and then having her family introduced to her, a family that she had always wanted to get to know, but she couldn't before, and then be happy to meet her.
I know.
I think was great. Them getting to play patty cake, I think, is the perfect way to end this movie because as much as it's Celie's journey, it's marked by the absence and the accompaniment of Nettie. That's what makes this movie. And so having it end with them getting to go back to their childish roots. Nettie is the only source of comfort that Celie had for the entire time that she was living with her dad and all the terrible, terrible things that he was doing. And so getting to go back to that and getting to reunite, I think is just, that's how I'd like my movies to end. And it makes me happy that that's how it did end for her, that she was getting to become this person that she always wanted to be. And she gets to show that to these people that she really cares about.
Yeah, and they learned the word mama or mother.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
Also gives nice context because we were confused about the scene in Africa with the knife.
Yes.
And then realizing that it was actually Adam and his wife going through the marriage ceremony of that culture.
Mm-hmm.
And when we see them together again later and they're introduced as man and wife, that connection was good because it was very confusing at first.
It was.
Because they didn't verbalize a lot of what was going on in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
So you had to use a lot of context clues. It's been a while since I've had to use context clues for a movie because these days they tell you to your face. So trying to piece together what experience is occurring on the screen, you need to sometimes get a clue that's later on. So I was glad that they kind of connected that so that way I knew. So they had gotten married because that was the friend of Olivia that she kept talking about.
Yeah, I was glad that they explained that as well. We're like, oh yeah, I remember her. Okay.
That's what they were doing.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay.
Especially because it was intercut with the
letters.
Well, no, that was with the razor and everything. Yeah, which is a weird scene that people said was kind of an odd composition.
Yeah.
So knowing that it was for a good reason goes a long way towards making you feel a little bit better about what was this? What am I watching? What am I experiencing right now?
So also, Spielberg protected his cast by, I know Alice Walker helped with the screenplay and there was another person as well. But a lot of things that happen in the book were very devastating.
Yeah.
To say the least. So he wouldn't have them do it over and over. He would do it maybe 3 or 4 times, but from different angles. And then he would just use off-camera times to let us fill in the blank because I like to do that. Yeah. I don't need to see every single thing. I like to, like you said, use context clues to know that it was not a good situation. So I admire Spielberg for just the way he treats his cast. And we've said it in other movies, how he is with the children and how he lets them be creative, the cast. And usually they don't shoot the movie chronologically. But what was the other one?
E.T.
E.T. They shot chronologically, and probably because it worked, he did it for this movie for Celie, so that her confidence would grow.
Yeah.
So that she could take back her voice and her power. And I think we mentioned it before that they had circles of trust that you called self-care, the cast members, because this was really heavy.
Yeah.
Heavy subject matter. I can imagine it would take a toll on you. So you had mentioned about the birth. Isn't that how the movie started?
Yeah, so the movie starts with Celie in 1909 giving birth to her second child. Painful way to start the movie. you just get thrown into it and you don't really know what's going on.
Hmm.
And then you understand as the scene plays out, and if as time goes on, you understand more about the tragedy of the beginning of the scene of the movie
Hmm.
and what the experience was that she had had. So from a production side, though, if you watch this movie, for us, we noticed how like it was very steamy when the baby
Yes.
was born and everything. There was a couple interesting techniques that they used. One of those is for the baby, they used a plastic baby, and then they had to like not like encased it in dry ice, but it had dry ice on it. So that was what was creating that steam effect that we
Hmm.
saw after it was born. Because this was like the winter of 1909. She was not in a house that was fit for human habitation. So it was very cold. And so that's how they got the effect of like the heat from the baby after it's born,
Hmm.
which I thought was interesting. But even more interesting, so while this was happening and they were shooting this scene, Spielberg was actually having his own child, his first child, Max. Amy Irving went into labor while he was shooting the birthing scene and everything. And a week after Max was born, he wanted to find a way to insert his child into this movie respectfully, not just be like, oh, there he goes, walking by. He recorded the cries of Max, and that's the cries that he uses for the baby in the movie. So when you hear the baby being born and you hear it crying, that is actually the cries of Spielberg's first child.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I wonder how Max feels about that.
I mean, he might be getting little subsidiaries from
Oh, okay, maybe, yeah,
it. Some
yeah.
royalties, maybe.
To look and see if he got credit.
I don't know if he's a SAG member, so maybe not. But
Oh, yeah, yeah. So to that end, the director of photography, kind of like the dry ice, used smoke as a way to set the mood and convey heat. So I think I read that they filmed in the summer,
yes, the summer, I think in Georgia, right?
North Carolina.
North Carolina. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Okay.
And so it was like June, July, August.
Oh,
So
yeah. So it was hot enough.
but they had to make it seem like it was cold. Epsom salt.
And I think a big thing is that Alice Walker didn't want Spielberg to direct, and Spielberg didn't want to be the director for the film. Not in a way that he didn't think it was a story worth telling, but he was afraid that the story wasn't his to tell. This is a story about Black people and their struggles.
He didn't want to overstep.
Yeah, he didn't want to overstep. He didn't want to take this story from somebody who would have experience that they could channel into this project and to bring it to life. And so he didn't feel comfortable taking us on. But it was Quincy Jones. Quincy Jones really convinced him, I want you to be involved. I will also be involved. So we can work on this together. I know Quincy Jones apparently said to Spielberg that they didn't need an alien to direct E.T. I mean,
That's a
is
good
a
way to put it.
persuasive argument, I guess. He was set on having Spielberg be the director, and they convinced Alice Walker after Spielberg kind of talked to her about his ideas and thoughts on the film.
It was nice that Quincy was able to guide him and work together, collaborate, and she was involved as well.
Yeah, and I think that's always what's really important is that if you're cognizant of the fact that you are not the target audience of this film and you are put into this situation where you are still expected to be the one that creates this film, surround yourself with the people that are able to give you the experience, give you the thoughts that you can put onto the screen that is going to honor the subject material and the people that will be watching this film. I think that's always going to be the most important thing. So I'm glad that Quincy Jones was so involved into this project, and Alice Walker, because I know that can't have been an easy experience for her, especially as they made changes to her script and sanitized things a little bit more than she may have wanted. But she still, I think, was able to fight for it, and I hope that she was happy with the outcome of it.
I believe she thought it was beautiful.
Okay.
She had joyful tears. It's really hard to convert pages to screen. She really wanted some things expanded on. But Spielberg knew that it was the 1980s, and some of these things audiences weren't ready for.
Yeah.
In that aspect, overall, she was happy with what he did.
That's good.
So, what was the name that they used?
So this movie is originally called Moonsong. Up to their old tricks of not wanting people to know what it's about. I believe I want to say it was Oprah when she was asked to read, and it was still called Moonsong. She started reading and she said, "This is a color purple." That's how fascinated she was. She clocked it immediately.
Yeah.
So speaking of Oprah, this is actually where I realized that Oprah spelled backwards is Harpo, which is the name of her fictional husband. And she created her production company, I think, shortly after, right?
Yes.
That's what we saw? Yeah.
Yes.
So that's kind of a fun thing. And also, she was told by Gene Siskel at the Academy luncheon, you should go ahead and bronze a role because you won't be getting the Oscar. for this movie, not in like a mean-spirited way, but he could tell
Yeah.
he could tell what was going to happen, and unfortunately he was correct. And so she actually did. So she, amidst all of her awards that she's won over the years, she has a bronzed roll from the Academy luncheon.
That's awesome.
Why don't you go ahead and talk about the black and white thing? Because I know how much you love Schindler's List for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Spielberg, he considered filming this in black and white, which I mean, I'm all for film noir and all that. But the title was The Color Purple, so I'm not sure how that would have translated. But the use of color really helped this film, so I can't imagine watching it in black and white and it feeling the same.
Mhm.
Schindler's List totally can pull it off. But this movie, I don't think would have done well as black and white.
But you can see how years before he did Schindler's List, how it was already on his mind that he wanted to
Yeah.
shoot a period piece that would take advantage of the black and white cinematography.
I mean, like you say, on the shoulders of giants, right? So he was already thinking about black and white and doing more mature content.
Yeah.
I'm really glad he did The Color Purple so that that was a big step if you think about it. Just coming off of Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom and all the adventure films he's done.
Yeah. Collaborating with somebody he's never collaborated with before to this degree, like a true partnership. Like, yeah. And I think it just does show how it's a change that Spielberg is experiencing.
So we know how Spielberg loves silhouettes.
Mm-hmm.
So when I didn't bring this up because I knew we would talk about it later, but when the young Celie is in the rocking chair
reading Oliver Twist,
and then of course it's the passage of time, and then there's some music, and then when
the Shug flyer,
the Shug flyer ended up on the
wind,
Celie got up and it was Whoopi, as older Celie. So love that. Love when they do things like that. It's just very classy. I don't know. Instead of just saying, 10 years later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was definitely a unique way to portray the passage of time.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and then I think the final fun fact that I enjoyed, and it makes sense in hindsight, is Spielberg actually believes that the mailbox is the 8th character of the movie. Like I said before, when Mr.'s life goes to ruin, the first thing he's doing is checking the mail, and you see that mailbox is now pales in comparison to how it used to be. It has the bullet holes, it's been destroyed, it's gone through something, showing how he has fallen. She wasn't allowed to check the mailbox. That was the key to her cage, was that mailbox, because that was where the letters were. And so Mr. would go and check, he'd find Nettie's letters and hide them from her. I think the way that they shot it sometimes, it was just like the maw of the mailbox, like beckoning to her to go and check it. Shug being the one that set her free because she went to go and check the mailbox because Mr. trusted her more than Celie, so he didn't think anything of her going and checking the mail. It truly did feel like it was a part of the movie, and it was something that I kind of noticed as we were watching. And then when Spielberg mentioned in the documentary that he feels it's the 8th character, it does. Like it's a huge symbol for this movie, is that mailbox.
The emptiness.
The emptiness, the yearning.
And I remember Mr. had told her that he had set it up so he would know if she messed with it. I don't.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Maybe
one. That was psychological, I think.
There was a mousetrap in the box. So do you think he had some kind of, I'll know if you messed with it?
I don't know, because Shug was fine.
That's sad.
Yeah, I think that one was all psychological. And they kind of show it because after he checks the mail, he's like right back at the house. What was he like in that time? He couldn't have done anything, couldn't have even laid one single hair across it to see if that hair gets disturbed or anything. So I think that was all psychological.
Well, it worked. So we like to talk about our musical marvel here. Our friend John Williams did not do the score for this one.
Yeah, I think this is the first feature-length film that he hasn't done for Spielberg.
It's true. So Quincy Jones did the score, which was pretty nice. I had read that John Williams did something with the score, but I could not read it anywhere else, so I don't know if that's true or not.
Yeah, I think he just conducted an orchestra. I don't think he did anything with the creation of the actual music.
But it sure sounded Jurassic Park-ish to me at times, so I don't know if it's just...
I mean, Spielberg may have said, John Williams is who I work with, review his material, that's what we're going to use for the score, which sounds kind of domineering when I say it out loud. Or what's more likely is that Quincy Jones knows the kind of sound that Spielberg has grown accustomed to, so he reviewed that so that way he could incorporate it into what he was creating for The Color Purple.
It was a good score. I especially like the jazz portions of it, at the juke joint, and I guess it was just at the juke joint, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Because we didn't go with her anywhere else. So he used vintage jazz records, like from Louis Armstrong and Coleman Hawkins, to create a 20s feel for the film. And he wrote the original songs like Sister, which I enjoy that song, and Maybe God's Trying to Tell You Something. So Quincy Jones contributed to the musical side of things.
So our next segment is Sandcastles in the Sand, which is where we talk about money, milestones, and reviews. So as far as the money of the movie, the budget was $15 million, and the box office was 98.4. That's a ratio of 6.56. Really good for a movie that not every audience is going to want to go see. So I'm really happy that it was able to make as much as it did and still be a box office success. I know Spielberg said that after he saw the reviews and people weren't a big fan of it, that he pretty much just kind of did an out of sight, out of mind, because he was worried about, numbers and everything. And it took about 4 months for him to find out that it actually was a profitable film for the studio. And it actually did make more than Sugarland Express and 1941. As far as the box office goes, so this came out in December of 1985. It is 9th on the rankings of the domestic box office. So above it was Rocky IV, Spies Like Us, The Jewel of the Nile, White Knights, Santa Claus, but not the one I know, Out of Africa, which I believe won a whole bunch of Oscars, Young Sherlock Holmes, and 101 Dalmatians. Wow, the domestic box office gross was only $8 million versus the $94 million it got. So the worldwide is really where The Color Purple took off.
Which is interesting because some countries
disagree with the source material, and so they weren't going to show it, but it got an audience.
Then again, when you prohibit something, what happens? People want it more, so.
I have to go find it. Let's go ahead and talk about the awards. So for The Color Purple, it had 10 nominations. So that puts it, fourth, I think? Yeah, so it's fourth in the amount of nominations that Spielberg got for a movie, behind Lincoln, Saving Private Ryan, and Schindler's List. It unfortunately didn't win any of them. It was nominated for picture, actress, 2 supporting actresses, adapted screenplay, art direction, cinematography, costume design, makeup, and score, and song for Miss Celie's Blues. Did not win a single one, and that's tragic.
It is.
So people liked it enough to nominate it, but not make it real. And that's, like I said, when Oprah was told you need to go bronze this role, that proved to be true.
I didn't know they had a luncheon.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It's probably where they convinced Academy voters to you mingle and talk to them so that way they can put a face to the name when they're watching the movie and deciding who they vote for.
Okay.
All right. So now that we've talked about the money, the milestones, why don't you go ahead and talk to us a little bit about the merchandising and reviews?
So they avoid merchandising because merchandise turns meaning into product, and these films are designed to be felt, discussed, and remembered, not owned. So I found that a very interesting way to look at it.
Yeah, I think so too. A lot of his other films, you can see how there'd be a lot of merchandising opportunities, but he's getting into prestige work, and that prestige work is going to be more about the art on the screen than what's in your hand. So I think it's a good way to put it.
So then I always like to look at the reviews of the time. Our friend Pauline Kael said the actors to be more important than they turn out to be. The movie is amorphous. It's a pastoral about the triumph of the human spirit, and it blurs on you. So I was really confused by this review. I can't tell if it's good.
Okay, so it sounds like this is a mixed review where they're saying that they don't know if the movie knows what it wants to be.
Yep, she's just not very.
Yeah, she doesn't seem like she's that high on it.
Yeah, and that's okay. I mean, that's.
Yeah, it happens. Pauline Kael can't always be the Spielberg.
Well, I always read her because I think she's going to go one way and then she goes the other. So, and then Roger Ebert, which you talked about earlier, he said, the affirmation at the end of the film is so joyous that this is one of the few movies in a long time that inspires tears of happiness and earns them. The Color Purple is the year's best film.
Oh, wow. So he was really positive on it. Yeah. That's good because I know, that ending was Spielberg's greatest fear about whether or not he was making the right choice on it. So I'm glad to see that Ebert at least thought that he made the right choice. And the cast did. Also, I'd appreciate that Spielberg listened to the cast when they said not to cut it down. That's another example of him listening to what they want. So
it just would have felt, I don't know.
Yeah.
It would have been like, what? That's it? Okay. Rotten Tomatoes gave it 73% on the tomato meter and 94% on the popcorn meter. Okay.
And we weren't very clear on it because we didn't really understand ourselves last time. The tomato meter is critics and the popcorn meter is the audience. So, people like you and me. So seems like people really appreciated it a lot more than the critics did, which is weird because with a movie like this, you would think that it would be more of a critical darling. It could definitely be, but apparently the audience that have been voting and this is all just user generated material anyway. So these numbers are good to have, but they're not the end say all be all of what these films are. So that's always important to remember.
And also, when you go see a movie, don't go by just what the critics say. Go and see it because you want to see it and you want to form your own opinion.
Yeah. All right. So now that we've covered everything, let's go ahead and wrap it up with our reviews, rankings, all that fun stuff. So first up, Letterboxd review. So I think I'm going to give this movie a 4.
That's good.
Yeah. I mean, I really did enjoy it. It's not material that I normally get into, but I'm glad that I did. And I got to experience it. It always reminds me I need to watch more dramas, and then I just don't. But I did feel like a emotional shift from watching this movie. So I think it's just, and it's a well done film. So I give it a 4. My review is I would have given Mr. a closer shave. So that's me. On Letterboxd, like I said, if you want to go ahead and give me a follow, Birch94.
Not like the tree.
But now we did that, we're going to go ahead and talk about our rankings. So Mom, why don't you go ahead and kick it off?
All right. So Tyler and I had discussed whether we need to abandon the rankings or do a tier list or... So as I stared at it earlier, I was like, okay, well, for me, the movies are about emotions.
Yeah.
How they made me feel. Number 1 is still E.T., the
Yeah.
extraterrestrial. Then Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark. Probably more nostalgia. Jaws, of course. And then I put The Color Purple 5th. Is that 5th? 4th. And then Duel, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, The Sugarland Express, and 1941.
Yeah, and just a caveat, like I said, it's just based off enjoyment. It's going to get really weird on these rankings going forward because before, all these movies were similar in themes or feelings, but now Spielberg is trying to diversify his portfolio, and in that way, also our rankings are going to start diversifying. So don't feel like we're thinking one movie is better than the other. This is just our personal rankings based off feelings at this moment also. So just kind of think about it like that. So for me, it's still going to be Jaws number 1, Raiders is number 2, E.T. is number 3. Yeah, probably do The Color Purple as number 4. 5 is Duel, and then 6 is Indiana Jones Temple of Doom. Close Encounters, they're kind of 7. Sugarland Express is 8, and then 1941 is 9.
I too struggled with Duel.
Yeah, Duel's a hard one because I just enjoy it so much.
I
But
know.
like,
I was like, do I like it more than Duel?
I think we're close.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very close.
I think, and with Duel, it's just such a simple story. It's starting to go against heavy hitters of complex themes and feelings and everything. So it's becoming harder for it to put up the fight it wants to because this is showing its age a little bit. 14 years after its release at this current time.
Remember when it was number 1?
Yeah, back in the day. All right, so our next episode will be the next movie, which is going to be Empire of the Sun, released in 1987 with a young Christian Bale and Spielberg's next foray into more drama, more stories that he wants to tell that he didn't feel comfortable doing before The Color Purple, which he has stated. So I'm curious about this one because I don't know a whole lot about it. And so it's going to be an interesting experience, I think.
I don't think I've ever seen it.
Yeah.
So
we'll see what we're getting into, but look out for that episode next time. Until then, I'm going to leave you with our quote by Spielberg. Through amazing stories and unforgettable characters, we are introduced to those incredible worlds we only dare imagine, and in the process, we discover ourselves. Thank you so much for bearing with us in this episode. I hope you appreciate us. We know our viewpoint is not the viewpoint of the audience for this film, so we did the best that we could to be as respectful as possible and be able to convey our feelings. I hope that you appreciated that. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed this film. Like I said, didn't know what I was getting into, but I was really pleasantly surprised by it. Did you have anything else that you want to say?
No, you pretty much covered it.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much for listening. This is Tyler signing off.
And this is Crystal.